Luke Pollard.
Thank you, for calling me, and I congratulate the honourable member for Aldershot on securing this debate, especially on such a fortuitous timing in terms of having this. There have been many debates in this chamber and in the main chamber about defence in the last couple of weeks, and there has been an extraordinary effort for all those members on both sides of the House who believe that our military is best served by having it strongly and adequately funded, putting that case forwards. Yesterday, I spoke at length about the National Shipbuilding Strategy, frigates, Royal Fleet Auxiliaries and the future of our sovereign defence capabilities. So I'll be very brief today, as I took up lots of time yesterday. There is no appetite on either side of this House for further defence cuts, and I'm pleased that that sentiment seems to have infected the Ministry of Defence in their battle with the Treasury on terms of funding as well. In the Defence Select Committee's excellent Shifting the Goalpost report, it showed the last Labour government spent on average 2.5% on defence, not falling below 2.3%. There are lots of Labour members and indeed Conservative members who would like to see us return to that level of spending relatively swiftly. I think it's important that we match the funding for defence to the threats we face, rather than match the spreadsheets to the number of ships. And that is an important distinction that is an argument that has been made many, many times before. The fiscally neutral element of the National Security Capability Review is an anchor that has dragged down this debate and has enabled members on both sides of the chamber to share the very valid and real concerns of defence communities in their patch about the potential for cuts, be those speculation or be those actual potential, and we must not fall into that trap of spreading fear, because morale is already suffering in our armed forces, and it is important that we support those people who are serving now and who want to serve, to understand that a role and a future in our armed forces is a career to be proud of, and their service is recognised and valued. The potential postponement of the cuts is a welcome news, and I welcome the chance that, as the honourable member of Aldershot mentioned, for further consideration of what the future shape, role and capabilities of our armed forces needs to be. I think this is a moment for us to regroup and refocus our efforts to provide a clear challenge and clear direction for ministers to take forwards in their discussions with the Treasury, to be clear about what our role that we want the armed forces to play in the future is, how we will support them through adequate training and resources, and, importantly, how we will support them after their time in uniform has come to an end. In Plymouth, we've been at the centre of much of the speculation around the armed forces, and I'm grateful for the Minister for taking time to listen to those concerns from Plymouth around our amphibious ships, Albion and Bulwark, due to be coming out of service in 2033 and 2034. I hope those dates remain. The importance of base-porting the frigates and making sure we have an adequate number of capable frigates base-ported in Devonport, but also that we look carefully at what the capability of for our helicopter carriers. Now, HMS Ocean has come out of service. Members from across the House will recognise that she served with distinction over her career, but most recently in response to the hurricanes in the Caribbean, and as a fitting last deployment, showing the real value of that ship and her crew to the Royal Navy and to our friends and allies abroad. I think also it is right at this moment to pay tribute to all those people who are not elected, those members of the public, armed forces and veterans who have shown their voices loudly and proudly in the last couple of months in speaking up for our armed forces. If more of our communities raise defence on the doorstep, as they have done over the last few weeks when I've been canvassing in Plymouth, I think this debate over the last couple of years would have been very, very different. The Plymouth Herald and the cross-party Plymouth City Council campaign to fly the flag for Devonport has been one such example. I know there are many others from right around the country of where local communities have galvanised together to say that the armed forces are important, not just in terms of jobs and contribution to the supply chain, but in terms of heritage, feel and community and identity, and that is something that we should shout loudly and proudly, especially in my part of the world, in Plymouth, about the contribution of the Royal Navy and the Royal Marines. I know the Minister will be potentially giving us good news towards the end of this debate, and the Secretary of State later perhaps as well, but I'm encouraged that there has been such a strong outpouring of support for the armed forces, and I hope that will continue as we regroup and refocus to make sure that the tussle with the Treasury produces a better funding for defence. Thank you.